Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Buffalo. Whether you are joining us here in the sanctuary or online, we are glad you are here. We are a congregation of open minds, loving hearts, and helping hands. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are on your life's journey, you are welcome here. We acknowledge the land upon which this church stands rests on the traditional territories of the Haudenosaunee people, the original nations of this land who continue to call for justice and self-determination. I have a few brief announcements for our life together. Sunday, February 1st, will be our winter congregational meeting. If you are a voting member, please plan to attend and vote on our slate of candidates for the board and hear updates on our capital campaign work. If you are not a member, come and observe and learn more about how democracy works in our congregation. The annual Cabaret fundraiser is just over a month away. Join the UUCB House Band on Friday, February 20th, and Saturday, February 21st, for an evening of creative musical arrangements, accompanied by several courses of small plates, a cash bar, and more. Please consider making an advance ticket purchase and/or donation today. All proceeds go to support the church's operating budget. Tickets are available on Zephy or after the service today in the parish hall. A gentle reminder that RE classes are scheduled to go until 11:45. If service ends early, please enjoy a cup of coffee or tea at social hour, or take a breath of fresh air and quiet before picking up your kids from RE. And now, I invite you to unveil the bonds that bind each to all. Take a moment to greet your neighbor.
Good morning. It's okay, a noisy sanctuary is a good sanctuary. If we haven't met, my name is Reverend Bethany Russell-Lowe, and I have the great pleasure and honor of serving as minister of this congregation. The poet Adrienne Rich says, "My heart is moved by all I cannot save. So much has been destroyed. I have to cast my lot with those who age after age perversely, with no extraordinary power, reconstitute the world. So much has been destroyed. too much to attempt to name here. And though we cannot save it all, we can gather each week to remember those to whom we cast our lot, the ones who resist authoritarianism, the ones who look after neighbors, the ones who fight for the children and for democracy and for the planet, the ones who use their ordinary powers to do extraordinary things by blowing whistles and trailing vehicles, by raising voices and singing songs, by calling representatives and showing up to town hall meetings, by making art and building community, by raising children and tending to the earth. And through these ordinary powers, we reconstitute the world as beautiful and worthy and whole, sometimes a little noisy. Though your heart is breaking, it can also be moved to care for neighbor, to fight for country, and to heal our injured planet. Love is at the center of what we do. It is who we are and how we are. And love does not take extraordinary power. It only takes you and me and all those to whom we cast our lot. Come, let us worship together. And I'm going to invite Liz and Steve up to do our words of chalice lighting this morning. Would you rise in body and in spirit as your body is permitting today?
Good morning. Each Sunday in January, we're beginning our service by reading our congregational covenant together. Everyone in this room will read the first line on the first page and the last line, which is on a second page, together. And in between, we're going to take everyone on this side is going to read the words on this side, and I will read with you when they're yellow. And everybody on that side will read the words on this side of the screen when they are in yellow with Steve. So, let's begin.
We, the members and friends of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Buffalo, beginning with ourselves as we are, covenant together in love to celebrate and find...
Hang on. Sorry, everyone. Steve and I are facing the wrong way. I get these words that are on the wrong side of our paper. I know. We're going to get this right. So we celebrate in love, together in love to celebrate and find joy in our diversity.
Honor our history and heritage while staying open to the future.
Be generous with our time and our treasure.
Strive for truth and justice within our and beyond our congregation.
Relate to all who come here with kindness, respect, and compassion.
Learn from one another and honor
the sacred in all its expressions.
When we fail, we will acknowledge our shortcomings, make
amends as we can, give and seek forgiveness, and move forward again in love and community.
And will you stay where you are and grab a gray hymnal if you'd like one? We're singing 155, Circle Round for Freedom.
Hello, my friends. I'm Jess, the Director of Religious Education, and today's story for all ages is Sometimes People March. So anyone who would like to come up and join me for the story, come on up now.
Hello, friends. I'm going to sit here next to my daddy.
Next to your dad, yep.
Because I like my dad. Sit right next to you. Okay, so.
Sometimes People March by Tessa Allen. Sometimes ants march. Sometimes bands march. Sometimes people march. Marching is something people do together when they want to resist injustice or when they notice the need for change. People march for many reasons. People march for things they care about and people they love. People march for the health of their bodies and their communities and the world. People march for the freedom to love and live and learn. Sometimes people carry signs to share their stories of resistance. Let's see what some of these say. Stop the war, votes for women, access is a civil right, climate justice now, Black Lives Matter, act up, fight back, we will love and protect each other, we are the 99%. People resist in many ways. Sometimes people resist with their voices. Show me what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. They might resist with words, or with songs, or art. People resist with meetings. They resist by standing up, or sitting down, or taking a knee. It isn't always easy. Feet get tired, arms get tired, hearts and hopes get tired. Sometimes problems seem too big or complex. But we do not march alone. Ants are stronger together. Bands are louder together. People are more powerful together. Sometimes from feelings of fear or anger or injustice comes the hope for change. Sometimes great change starts small with a brave question. Maybe your question, a question that calls people together. And together we find the courage to march. My friends, have you ever gone on a march or a rally for anything? You've been out protesting? Yeah. Harper? You can march? It can be a cool march. That's a very cool march. What kinds of things have you gone to protests or rallies for? Just to support people? Yep, to stand up for ourselves. Oh. Otis, did you have something to share? You've marched in a protest before too? Larger congregation, show of hands. Who has marched in a protest or a rally? Yeah, that's what democracy looks like, friends. All right, well, we all are going to march on up to our classes and learn a bit more about justice.
This congregation is sustained by the generous members and its friends. Your gift supports the life of this church and our work in the wider world. This month, our Share the Plate partner is Provisions 139, a local pantry and support center here in Buffalo. In addition to financial support, they are currently seeking egg cartons and disposable bags. To support our church and our Share the Plate ministry, you can drop a check in the offering plate, check or cash. You can use PayPal by going to our website, or you can arrange a regularly automatic deposit from your bank. Let's give from our hearts so we can transform the world. The offer will now be given and received.
We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until the killing of black men, black mothers' sons, is as important as the killing of white men, white mothers' sons. That which touches me most, have a chance to work with people, passing on to others that which was passed on to me. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. To me, young people come first. They have the courage where we fail. They fight in bloodshed some light as they carry us through the gale. The older I get, the better I know that the secret of my going on is when the reins are in the hands of the young who dare to run against the storm. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. Not needing to march for power, not needing a light just to shine on me. I need to be one in the number as we stand against tyranny. Strolling myself don't mean a whole lot. I've come to realize that teaching others to stand up and fight is the only way struggle survives. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. I'm a woman who speaks in a
Those words, we who believe in freedom cannot rest. There's a power in them. They have this way of making me want to say yes to everything, yes to this protest, yes to that thing, yes to that call, yes to this pastoral need, and we know where that gets me, friends, right? Nowhere good. I know that my body also needs quiet, also needs silence, also needs more rest than I could ever know. Life is paradox, is it not? So we return now to that weekly practice of getting quiet, getting still, resting for a bit. Not to tune out the world around us, but to tune in to the movements and motions of our own lives so we might get a bit more clear about where freedom and love are calling us next. We get quiet and rest so that we can move through our lives with clarity and power. We have one collective celebration in this moment. Today is Caitlin's 49th birthday. Happy birthday, Caitlin. Yes. If you ever have a celebration or sorrow or a big thing in your life you want to share, just let me know over email, or sometime Sunday morning you could catch me, and that works too. I know that in addition to the swirls of our world, you have come this morning with celebration and joy, as well as grief and sorrow. I know that anger runs through your veins, and at the same time, gratitude spreads out from your heart sometimes. I invite you to take a quiet moment to focus on what is heaviest on your mind and heart this morning. To let that heaviness just be, to give it the dignity of being part of you. And if you can give that heaviness a name or phrase, I invite you to say it in your head or maybe out loud into the wide embrace of this community. We who believe in freedom also deserve rest, not to tune out or opt out, but to care for our own bodies, our own minds, our own sources of resilience. May you be tender with all that is heavy on your heart. May you be careful with all that is heavy on your mind. May no heaviness prevent you from doing the next right thing and doing your part to reconstitute our world. One sec.
Will you continue with me in a spirit of meditation and prayer, and hear these words? Prayer for love and justice from Dan Schatz. God of many names and no name, Spirit of love and justice, sacredness within, we cry out in fear and grieving, in anger and determination. Love and justice take hold. Remind us who we are. Lead us forward and guide us in your ways. When we are afraid, turn us to each other so we may give and find comfort and strength in community. When we mourn, open our hearts yet wider to the sweetness as well as sorrows in the world, and to compassion for all beings. When we are angry, remind us again and again of our ideals, keeping us true to our vision. And love and justice give us determination to hold together, to be better, or to better this world, to love humanity in spite of all of it, to keep the struggle when the times are hard, and to move as one to a new day of promise. Amen and blessed be.
Sleep tonight, and may your dreams be realized. If the thundercloud passes rain, so let it rain down on him. So let it be. So let it be.
Yes, I heard one of you whisper amen to the choir. I have a practice that on the weekend when we celebrate and honor Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., I like to lift up another civil rights advocate who we do not hear of as often. Martin Ramirez Sostre was born in Harlem in 1923 to Puerto Rican parents. He grew up surrounded by the creativity and imagination of the Harlem Renaissance, as well as the collective power building of both Black and Puerto Rican nationalism. He left grade school in 10th grade and was drafted into the U.S. Army at the age of 19. He was, quote unquote, dishonorably discharged in 1946 after getting into what might be considered a bar fight. In 1952, he was arrested on drug charges and incarcerated at Attica here in Western New York. Though his political roots tie back to Harlem and his neighborhood, at Attica, his political revolutionary mindset became more solidified. He taught himself law and history and yoga, and he also joined the Nation of Islam. While incarcerated, Sostre became one of the leaders of an organized prison litigation movement of Muslims fighting for their constitutional rights to religious practice while inside Sostre was part of a movement that successfully secured incarcerated people their constitutional rights to free practice of religion. Some legal scholars compare his and similar cases to the Brown versus Board of Education for Prisoners' Rights. Due to this activism, Sostre was placed in solitary confinement for the last 5 years of his 12-year sentence. He was released from Attica in 1964, and this is where the story moves a little closer to home. He moved to Buffalo and got a job at Bethlehem Steel. Within a year, he'd saved up enough money to open a bookstore on the east side of Buffalo called the Afro-Asian Bookshop, just about a mile from here on Jefferson Avenue. Sostre encouraged folks, especially youth, to come to the bookshop and find a book of interest and just stay there all day and keep coming back day after day until they had finished the book. His bookshop became a fertile ground for revolutionary thought and activism. Sostre opened 2 more bookshops in Buffalo in the following years. During the uprisings in Buffalo in 1967, where Black Buffalonians revolted against police brutality and segregated housing and racialized inequality, the Afro-Asian Bookshop, which Sostre ran, became a refuge and a meeting place for revolutionary radicals who were part of those uprisings. The powerful folks at the time in Buffalo saw Sostre's ability to build political power and empower people to claim their own political power as a deep threat. Just weeks after those uprisings, the FBI and local police raided Sostre's shop and arrested him for purportedly selling a $15 bag of heroin. Now, I'll fast forward a bit in the story to say that Sostre's charges were later found to be fabricated by the FBI and Hoover's COINTELPRO program. Some of you know about that. An FBI informant had pretended to buy drugs from Sostre, and that was his falsified testimony, with the grounds on which he was arrested. But all that truth had yet to come to light for those who had the power to contain Sostre in whatever ways he could be contained. Sostre was held in jail for 8 months before his case was all of a sudden rushed before a judge. Representing himself, Sostre demanded that a new jury be found because the all-white jury, in his words, could not literally be understood as a jury of his peers. Nevertheless, Sostre was found guilty by that all-white jury right here in Buffalo, and he handed his appeal to the judge on the way out of the courthouse. He was sentenced to 31 to 41 years in prison for, at this point, just one charge: illegal sale and possession of narcotics. Martin Sostre spent his time as a political prisoner, being a jailhouse lawyer and organizer. From inside, Sostre continued to appeal his case and build up political power inside and outside prison. He built up a network of defense committees all across New York State and beyond who advocated for his release and his fair treatment. He became a powerful jailhouse lawyer, both writing appeals that other people filed, but writing appeals for his own case, and also authoring winning legislation, winning legal victories on political censorship of incarcerated people, solitary confinement rights, and the rights of prisoners to due process. Because he was stirring things up, he was transferred a number of times to Greenhaven and Wallkill and Auburn and Clinton state prisons over the course of many years, where he organized in many of those places, a prison laborers union. He led a work strike and more. In March 1975, Martin Sostre's appeal was finally denied. Later that year, though, he was named a prisoner of conscience by Amnesty International. His sentence was commuted on Christmas Day of that same year because of Amnesty International's support, which was a long time coming. He went on after that second time of incarceration to work for tenants' rights in New Jersey for most of the rest of his life. He died in 2015 at the age of 92. Sostre's partner at the time was also arrested here in Buffalo. Her name is Geraldine Pointer. She also managed one of the bookstores and was arrested that day in 1967. As a result of her arrest and incarceration, she lost time with her 5 young children while she was incarcerated for 2.5 years. Her charges were also later found to be her charges were unfounded later, and she is still alive and lives here in Buffalo. There's an effort to have both Geraldine and Martin's charges exonerated. You can find the petition online if you want to sign that. And Eddie sent me a picture this week. He went by what is now a vacant lot where the Afro-American bookshop once stood. That now vacant lot has been recently reclaimed by the community. There's a garden and a little tiny library and a community bulletin board. And there's currently rounds of feedback being sought from the community to paint a mural to honor and remember both Geraldine and Martin's legacies. You can find out more at martinsostre.com or by searching Justice for Geraldine and Martin, all one word, on Instagram. I can't find it anywhere else. If you're not on Instagram, we'll figure out how you can get connected. By the end of his life, you might be able to tell from some of the language, Sostre was aligned with anarchism and other revolutionary politics. I want to be clear that Martin Sostre's politics would have challenged many, if not most, in these pews in the 1970s, just as they would challenge some in these pews here today. And still, I think his life and work is still worth examining in this moment. Our progressive and leftist movements have to grow wider, find ways to work together if we are going to confront together the rising tide of fascism and authoritarian rule in our country. While incarcerated the second time, Martin Sostre distributed articles through a newspaper called The Black News. In 1970, he wrote an article commemorating the 2-year anniversary of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King's death. In this article, he argues that the image of Dr. King as purely a nonviolent resistor is not telling the full picture of Dr. King's politics. He argues that, especially in those final years of his life, Dr. King's speeches and actions were becoming more militant, in that he was more and more directly challenging what Sostre calls the white man's law and order. Sostre argues that King was a lawbreaker, and that as a lawbreaker of the white man's law and order, he was, in and of itself, a militant. He wrote this: "To reject the rebel lawbreaker King image in favor of the religious nonviolent image of King is to reject King and his deeds, not only because the real King was both religious and secular, but because he performed his greatest deeds not in the church preaching about what Jesus did 2,000 years ago, but in the streets, taking part in the contemporary struggle against the white racist oppressive law and order." I take that challenge from Sostre to understand Dr. King's personal political philosophy as nonviolent, and also to not forget that Dr. King's political activity was militant as perceived by that white racist contemporary oppressive law and order, which is both way far away and also still now, right? Contemporary writer and poet Cole Arthur Riley wrote this recently: "Our resistance is not predicated on how likely it will be to alter the conscience of the oppressor. We resist to retain our own conscience and to awaken all others who are still in possession of their own souls." Neither Dr. King nor Sostre were concerned with altering the conscience of oppressors, at least not those stuck in that oppression. They were speaking and writing and living from their own conscience, that all people ought to be free from all that binds them, and that the white man's law and order in these United States has always been racist and sexist and corrupt. They found those whose own souls also called them to get free from these systems, and we act from both of their legacies today. Some of us have known the truth about racist policing systems for a while now, our whole lives, some of us. And some of us are pretty new to facing that reality. The American police state was never meant to protect all Americans. It was created to enforce racist laws that would keep white people in power, particularly white men. ICE is yet another agent of the police state, a newer iteration of state power that was created to enforce explicitly xenophobic laws against immigrants and their families. When Renee Nicole Good was killed in Minneapolis last week, and that killing was horrific. She was not, though, the first person to be murdered while being confronted by ICE. Just in 2025, Norlin Guzman Fuentes, a 37-year-old from El Salvador, was killed when a gunman opened fire at the ICE field office where he was being held. Miguel Angel Garcia Medina, a 31-year-old from Mexico, was killed outside an ICE field office in Dallas. Silverio Villegas Gonzalez, a 38-year-old from Mexico, was shot and killed by an ICE officer in the Chicago suburb of Franklin Park. Josue Castro Rivera, a 25-year-old from Honduras, was killed while trying to flee ICE agents in Virginia. And more recently, in 2026, Keith Porter Jr., a 43-year-old from the United States, was fatally shot by an off-duty ICE agent after firing a weapon into the sky to celebrate New Year's Eve. At least 29 people have died in ICE custody that we know of, the deadliest year for ICE since 2004 when the agency began. And in addition to the violent deaths, there were at least 12 other incidents by ICE of gun violence resulting in injuries, and dozens of recorded incidents of violence with less lethal weapons like rubber bullets and pepper spray. The violence by ICE and the deaths resulting from ICE's reckless activity is almost surely underreported, but the numbers are still staggering, no? All of these deaths, all of this injury, all of this violence, all of it is heartbreaking and heart-aching and enraging. ICE has been recklessly tearing apart communities for decades now. Under both Democratic and Republican administrations, ICE has been deporting parents, arresting U.S. citizens, caging children, and separating families. The Black Lives Matter movement of the last decade opened our eyes to see how gun violence and lethal use of force against Black and brown bodies has been allowed, and in some cases legal, for decades and centuries. ICE is continuing in this racist legacy of American policing departments. ICE is the white man's law and order. And to be clear, these policing systems are doing exactly what they were set up to do. We can feel the shock and grief at that reality, but we can't get stuck there. We have to act, to commit and recommit ourselves to transforming the policing systems that have been set up to separate families and kill Black and brown and Indigenous bodies. This transformation necessarily at this point includes abolition in many cases. One of my favorite poets sends me and thousands of us a poem every day. Here is Rosemary Watola Tromer's poem from sometime last week, after the killing of Renee Good. Into the woods, I carried my broken, open heart, knowing it rhymed with millions of other broken, open hearts. And there, in the silence of spruce trees and new snow and cloudless blue sky, the heart gaped with its relentless ache. I so deeply loved the world, and I was so terribly upset by the world. All this. The snow was impossibly peaceful. It softened every broken rock, broken stick. I felt at the same time the raw wound of injustice and the infinitude of primeval peace, both of them saying, remember, remember, remember. The poet's advice to us in this moment is to remember the both and of life, the beautiful and the terrible, the love and the despair, the wound of injustice and the infinitude of peace, all of which dwell within us and beyond us. As we move forward, I hope we can hold that both and of justice work, the need to grieve what is happening, and that faithful demand to resist every day, to act from nonviolence, and to understand that that action will sometimes be perceived as militant and be militant, to hold the messiness and act from our conscience still. And to remember, too, that progressive work for justice can look very different. Some lead and follow the legacy of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, and others lead and follow in the legacy of Martin Sostre. In order to truly resist this rising tide before us, we will need to draw that circle of resistance wide and wider still, so it includes all who believe in the power of the people, all who believe that love is stronger than hate, and all who have a vision for freedom for everybody. Amen. May we make it so. Our final hymn today is one that I learned at protests. I'm going to say it up here so you can see me. It comes out of the African-American gospel tradition, but this particular version was composed by Yara Allen, who works with Repairers of the Breach. The song was initially sung as part of the Moral Mondays movements, which were led by Reverend Dr. William Barber, who reignited the Poor People's Campaign about a decade ago in Dr. King's honor. The Moral Mondays movement is, and I quote, working to reclaim moral language from the uses of empire. It says, hope is the foundation of building larger coalitions to fight against what seems to be incredible odds. I think it's a good song to carry in our hearts these days. It goes like this. I'm going to sing it through once. Can I have this one? Thank you. I'm going to sing it through once, and then I will tell you what your part is. Will you rise in body and spirit if your body's allowing that in this moment or needs it? I hope it's not too high. That's too high. Somebody's been hurting my sibling, and it's gone on far too long. Yeah, it's gone on far too long. Oh, it's gone on far too long. Somebody's been hurting my sibling, and it's gone on far too long. And we won't be silent anymore. So you've got an earworm. Now here's the thing. If the words aren't bolded up there, they're not your words. So I'm going to sing this, somebody's been hurting my sibling, and you're going to say, gone far too long, far too long, far too long, and then that last line is yours too. Is the last line up there? We won't, got it. That's your line too, okay? So let's try it. Let's just get into it. I'm not going to teach it. Sing out. Words don't matter. Notes don't matter either. It just matters that you're singing. Will you clap along too, if you would? Just a little bit. Somebody's been hurting my brother, and it's gone on far too long. Oh, it's gone on far too long. Yes, it's gone on far too long. Somebody's been hurting my sibling, and it's gone on far too long. And we won't be silent anymore. Ian, this is too low for us. What's something we can sing a little bit higher? It's too low for me and us. Someone, what? Somebody's been hurt. Somebody's been there. Okay, let's try that. All right, let's get back in. Will you clap for me? Somebody's been kidnapping migrants, and it's gone on far too long. Oh, it's gone on far too long. Yeah, it's gone on far too long. Somebody's been kidnapping migrants, and it's gone on far too long. And we won't be silent anymore. Somebody's been hurting our children, and it's gone on far too long. Oh, it's gone on far too long. Yeah, it's gone on far too long. Somebody's been hurting our children, and it's gone on far too long. And we won't be silent anymore. You sound great. Somebody's been ignoring the homeless, and it's gone on far too long. Yeah, it's gone on far too long. Oh, it's gone on far too long. Somebody's been ignoring the homeless, and it's gone on far too long. And we won't be silent anymore. Somebody's been hurting our neighbors, and it's gone on far too long. Yeah, it's gone on far too long. Oh, it's gone on far too long. Somebody's been hurting our neighbors, and it's gone on far too long. And we won't be silent anymore. And we won't. And we won't be silent anymore. You're ready. Get out there, friends.
Please join me in our chalice extinguishing words. As we extinguish the flame of this chalice, may we carry its light with us into the world in the power of peace, faith, justice, and love. Our words for the benediction come from Reverend Rebecca Savage. She writes, "We have come to the end of our service, but not our calling in the world. We close our time together with humble reminder that justice and equity are our spiritual practices to embrace. Each day, every day, we are blessed to be the embodiment of what is possible. When justice and equity ground us in all that we do, may we go forth with the light and warmth of our chalice in our hearts until we are together again."